Hello everyone, this is Remus and welcome to another R&R Partners video. Today I'm going to talk about how to obtain permanent residency in Romania. So, you've been here in Romania for a long period of time. Usually that's 5 years. There are two types of permanent residencies. One is for EU citizens and the second one is for non-EU citizens. First, I'm going to talk about EU citizens. The first thing that you need to know is that the 5 years that you have to stay in Romania count from the date that you got your first permanent residency. In Romania, the document is certificate of registration, usually is known through EU expats as the CMP. So you first need to go and see the first one that you get from the immigration office, what's the date on that document. There are many cases in which clients came and say, oh, I've been here in Romania for a number of years, but I've been registered for the last 2 years. Well, if you do not have those 5 years from the first certificate, then you cannot register as permanent residency here. So you need 5 years in order to be registered. If you have those 5 years from the first permanent residency, you must know that in those 5 years you must not live more than 6 months within a year. So if you stayed in Romania for the last 5 years and 2 years you've gone, for example, to France, if you are from France, to conduct there some business or some family emergencies, and you came back on the 3rd year, those 2 years do not count. Moreover, if you have to provide some proof that you stayed in Romania. Given the fact that you can go outside of Romania and enter Romania with your national ID card, that type of exiting and entering usually is not registered or is poorly tracked. Therefore, you must bring proof that you stayed in Romania. The proof can be issued by your employer, by the company that you're running, by friends, family, neighbors, whoever wants to give this kind of statements and proof for you, that's okay, but you need the proof. You'll need to pay a small tax for the residency permit to be issued, and be aware that if you are staying in Romania through means of living or through a company, you must also provide that you are insured in the national health system. If you are not an employee, then you'll have to submit an annual statement to the Romanian state, which states that you are paying the taxes and you'll get the basic insurance in the public health system. Now, let's go to the second type of permanent residency, the permanent residency for non-EU citizens. This type of residency is a bit different because it's there are two laws. There's a law for EU citizens and there's a law for non-EU citizens. The law for the EU citizens, it's much more easier and much more clearer to go through the process. For non-EU citizens, there are some additional conditions that they must meet. If you are a non-EU citizen and you want to gain the permanent residency, the condition is the same. You must come and be in Romania for 5 years, legally speaking. You must go and check your residency permits, all the residency permits up to 5 years back, tracing them. There must be no gap between the residency permits. Each and every residency permit must be linked one to another. If you are, for example, on a work permit, usually you have 1 year residency permit. Therefore, they must be linked and you must not have a gap between them. That's the first condition, the residency to be continuous in Romania. The second step is to see how much you've went outside of Romania. Given that you are a non-EU citizen, you always have the stamps on your passport. If you change your passport, you must look on the other passport that you have. Why I'm asking that? Because there are two conditions for you. The first condition is that you must not live 6 months within a year from Romanian soil. And there's an additional condition, the second condition, that you must not leave Romania in the last 5 years, so on the whole period of time, more than 10 months cumulated. Therefore, there are cases when clients come and say that, okay, I went with work. Unfortunately, that's a condition that is checked from case to case because the law states that only if you are for international transport, that period is not counted for the 10 months. Or there are cases when you can come to Romania and when you come back, you are not registered as re-entering Romania, and there's a problem. We actually had quite recently a client who went outside of Romania on a tourist trip. He went to Vienna with his spouse, came back, the car was full of Romanians, and they just said, okay, go. And he forgot to get a stamp on the passport. And when we went to the immigration office, they stated, oh, but he doesn't figure as he's being in Romania, and we had to give some declarations and to state what happened. If you meet this criteria, you need to know that you'll need some additional documents. I'm going to state only the differences. For example, you do not have to bring proof that you stayed in Romania, because the proof is in the electronic system from the border police. When you come and enter, it's on your passport. There are some additional conditions, like having a criminal record from the Romanian police department. That criminal record has to be clean, to not have any criminal incidents. You have to bring the proof of residency, the proof that you are staying in Romania according to the purpose, and you'll need to give an interview. So you need to speak quite well Romanian at the level of understanding each other, understanding a normal conversation. Be aware that sometimes the questions are not formally formulated by the immigration officer. There are sometimes words that you usually use in informal conversation, so those are tested too. If you speak Romanian at work, be aware that you should also speak Romanian in family time or understand the Romanian and everything. So, as a non-EU citizen, this would be your first step. There are actually two steps. They will review the documentation, everything that you stated, and that everything adds up. And usually in maximum 6 months, you'll get an answer if you are a Romanian permanent, you are granted the right to have the Romanian permanent residency or not. After you are granted that right to have the Romanian permanent residency, then you'll have to go again at the immigration office and file for the permanent residency card. The filing must be done within 30 days from when you receive the letter from the immigration office, and after you get the permanent residency card, that's the final step before applying for citizenship, for example. In order to apply for citizenship, you are required this card, and you also gain additional rights. For example, if you've been a worker and you wanted to change employees, the new employer had to go and get a certification to employ you. Now that you are a permanent resident, you can just change employers without any problems. This is everything about permanent residency. If you want to know more about this topic, you can click here and there's gonna be a link to how to renew your residency if that's something you are facing right now. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and we'll see you next time. Bye!